Well, I picked a night when everybody and his brother is down here in the practice room, so we'll just see if we can make this work. But I thought rather than talk about it in writing, I would just explain. Here's my board, the way it currently is. We're getting it with the white Strat into the old Princeton. So this thing here is the GigRig G2. All the pedals are plugged into that. And then when I press, for instance, 1, you'll notice a certain sequence of lights will see how that changes, and you hear the hiss and all that change. So what that corresponds to is the various pedals. So input, this thing called 3-to-1 can plug 3 guitars into the side there, and they have volume controls. There's a preamp in it, so I can control the gain level of the individual guitars to balance them. From here, it goes right into the board here, and where I am now, this comes on the tuner. So that's my little poly tune over there, and if I do this, there you can see it activates, and that's working. So I always have a tuner out, and then if I go to this, now that's really weird. I'm hearing the people down the hall, and I'm not sure why. It's a pain in the ass though. Anyway, the pedals plug in. Here's the order of them. On the back here is it's actually an old 1975 Dynacomp compressor. That's going into this thing called Loopy 2. Here's another compressor. This is made by Analog Man. It's called the Juicer. It's made to replicate one of those little Dan Armstrong metal boxes that you'd actually plug into your guitar. Apparently Mark Knopfler liked one of those. Both of those go into this Loopy 2, so then I can choose. Right now it's on the orange one, and then this would be the Dynacomp. So I can choose between 2 different compressors. Let's see, I think next it goes into this thing here called a Dumb Kudo. Something this guy in Japan built for me. It's supposed to be a Dumble amp simulator, so it's a kind of a fancy type of a distortion overdrive pedal. I'll just keep going along the back here. The blue thing that I'm focusing on there is Timmy. That's a really cool distortion pedal that's named after the guy Timmy from South Park. And you can't miss Ernie. Ernie is a super fat fuzz pedal. It's made to replicate the second version of the Big Muff, and it does it really well. I'm really happy to have that. Next on there, this thing is upside down called the Mobius. It's a brother to the Timeline and Big Sky. These are things from Strymon. This one here will do chorus, flange, vibrato, Leslie. It's got a bit crusher in it. It's all this stuff. It's fantastic. You'll hear it. You already know the Loopy 2. This is a thing by Analog Man called a King of Tone. It's kind of got a little compression, a little distortion, makes things sound good. Next to this is the Zvex Fuzz Factory. That is a factory of fuzz. And then the Timeline is all things delay. It's got everything on it. It has a swell. It has a harmonizer. It'll go backwards. It'll do two different delays at once. Digital, analog, tape simulator. And the Big Sky is all things reverb. Oh, also the Timeline has a looper in it, which I won't necessarily be using right now. So what I'm going to do is, oh, and I forgot down here the Octron. This is an Octavia. Goes octave up, octave down, and then the clean. So basically you can select any of those, and it's like a little mixer. So I will compete with the bands here now. So this should be, that my plain bypass signal. And then I'm going to hit 7. And you notice 1, 3, and 10. 1 is my compressor. Right now I have the red Dynacomp on. 3 is the King of Tone, which I don't have on. I turned it off for some reason. It gives it some teeth. I kind of like that. And then 10 is the reverb, and it's just got a simulation of a spring reverb. And then if I want, this thing is really cool because these ones with the yellow lights are in stomp box mode. So now I have this one set up with this dumb kudo pedal over here. So right now there's no overdrive or distortion present, and now I can add it in. And then if I want it to go out, I just, you know, hit the regular. 12 is the Timmy. It's a different type of. And if I want both. And then back to the regular, and if I want nothing, I just do that. Let's see, what else is on this that's interesting? This is a Leslie. This is the Mobius back there doing a rotating speaker sound. I think this is the Mobius doing a tremolo. And of course, like I have 8 is the Mobius, so that's the tremolo. 9 is the timeline, and I'm using a delay on that. And then 10 is the Big Sky. Up here is getting into Robin Trower territory. That's the Mobius doing the Univibe, which is the effect that Trower and Hendrix use a lot, amongst others. And then I got a delay on that, and if I go over here, I have it set up so it's got some distortion. Now what I just did there is I hit this bank switch, so now you see these guys all flashing. I have 8 banks of, I can put presets in there. I'm going to go back to bank number 1, and now I have a phase shifter, kind of like a phase 90. And that's more Univibe. This is the box of, or the factory of fuzz. With a real long delay on it. And just as a way of comparing, here's the Ernie back here, which is the big muff. And comparing that with, over here, the dumb kudo. And comparing it with the Timmy. They're probably probably all distorting the microphone. Let's see, what else is interesting on here? Chorus. Leslie, same thing. What else? Oh, this is interesting because this has a harmonizer on it, so you'll hear. And this one, that's coming off of the Big Sky. That has a harmonizer built into that. This is the same thing, but with oohs and ahs, like a choir. This is the timeline, and it's using a really weird harmonizer thing. So I got two notes that are a whole step apart. So I'll play C, and it'll play C and D simultaneously. That was something I was using when we were playing Metal Fatigue by Alan Holdsworth. What else is on here? Oh, here's the Octron. Wait, where is it? Anything else? Oh, this has a that's using just the delay here, and it's suppressing the attack of the notes like a volume swell. But it's also got a delay on it. What else can this do? Oh, on this, I think it's over here too. This is kind of like Adrian Belew. You get elephant sounds. There's also this tremolo delay. Let's see, what else is there? Big sounds. This is one that it's got delay. Doesn't have reverb. It's got delay and flange on it, really powerfully.